So have you all seen this current trend going around on TikTok, where if you say, "Hey Google," around a baby or a toddler, they seem to freak out. They're absolutely horrified.
Hey Google! Hey Google, what's the wedding date tomorrow?
What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all the supporters who's coming back to the channel, watching the videos entirely, commenting down below. I greatly appreciate the support. Found these videos for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Have you seen what they found in Australia? A supersized stick bug. Scientists are saying this is one of the heaviest insects they have come across. You haven't seen the video, take a look at this.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at the size of it on his hands and arms.
Woo.
Wow. So what is going on with these bugs in Australia? What is causing such a mutation that has now become one of the heaviest insects in the world? I have no clue, do you? And would you be putting that in your hand and holding it like that and showing off and not being afraid of being attacked by that? Again, like I said.
You're a brave soul.
This mutated, supersized stick bug measures 16 inches and weighs as much as a golf ball. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think is mutating these insects. And would you like to hold one in your hand? And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I don't think so. That's a no from me. I don't know why these bugs and stuff's changing. Maybe it's the ecosystem. But it's like all the freaking... It had to be an Australian, mate. I'm sorry, that was my Australian accent. I know it's not the best.
Military just deployed mosquito-sized drones that are completely invisible to the human eye and could spy on you from inside your own home. These military surveillance drones are only 2 centimeters long, weigh less than a paperclip, and flap their wings exactly like real insects. You literally cannot tell the difference between these spy machines and actual bugs crawling on your wall. The Chinese National University of Defense Technology confirmed these microdrones can perch inside any building, record everything you do, and transmit classified intelligence back to military command centers without anyone knowing. Your private conversations, your personal documents, your family gatherings, all being recorded by what you think is just a harmless bug on your ceiling. While American military drones are still the size of cars and make noise you can hear from miles away, China just made surveillance completely undetectable. These mosquito drones can swarm in groups of thousands, coordinate attacks, and gather intelligence from every corner of a city simultaneously. This technology is operational right now. Every insect in your house could potentially be watching you. The age of true privacy just ended, and most people have no idea it's already happening.
So that new
Insane.
Taki have literally been clapping people, sending them straight to the ER. Like multiple people going to the ER from eating this sandwich. And honestly, what did y'all expect from the Diabetes Power Rangers united their forces together? Just looking at this sandwich, I'm knowing this burger is slapboxing your cholesterol levels. Not only that, Wendy's have the audacity to say, oops, I can't make this shit up. And to be honest with you, bro, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that people is hearing what's happening to people that's eating this sandwich, and then they're going to try the sandwich to see if it make them. What's wrong with this generation? Like, y'all can't take nothing serious. You heard that a sandwich is clapping people, and then you want to see and test to see if you get clapped too. What? What type of sense does that make?
It doesn't.
Y'all really showing God how to use y'all free will, ain't it? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments on what y'all think about this new Taki burger getting people clapped in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom. Stay tuned.
We ain't
If you
eating
want
it.
to learn how to make your content pay you passive revenue, comment down below hub and I'm sending resources in your DMs. Y'all just won't miss a chance of getting y'all back bigs, won't y'all?
Donald Trump just had a massive meltdown and finally responded to the new episode of South Park. Not only did they rip on Trump for being in the Epstein file, they also said that Trump has a tiny blank, and Trump just got rage baited so hard because his response is insane. And just this week, South Park secured a $1.5 billion streaming deal from the Paramount Network, which South Park openly criticized in their new episode. And literally 30 minutes ago, the FCC just approved the Skydance and Paramount merger for $8 billion. A lot of people were saying that the reason why Stephen Colbert was fired was because he was critical of this merger by Paramount as they were bending the knee to Trump. Now Trump has finally responded to the South Park guys after what they did in their new episode last night, and this is where it gets so much more worser. The statement was just put out from the White House in regards to the new South Park episode. Just like the creators of South Park, the left has no authentic or original content. South Park is a fourth-rate show that hasn't been relevant for 20 years and is hanging by a thread with uninspired ideas and desperate attempts for attention. Did Trump get rage baited?
When I heard this, I was like, how the hell is this real? So they said a nuclear weapon site that was in South Carolina where the U.S. used to make real live nukes, they went there and they found a radioactive wasp nest, y'all. Not kinda, not a little bit. They said this joint was 10 times over the legal radiation limit. And if I ain't know no better, I would have thought this shit was a movie. So they said this was inside the Savannah River site, where 34 million gallons of nuclear waste sit in underground tanks. Now this is the crazy part. Here's what they saying, y'all. When they found the nest, y'all, they said the joint was glowing hot radiation. Don't that sound like a movie? They say they was looking like, what the hell? They said that joint was sitting right by one of the tanks. But you know they had to grab it up. Then when they got it, y'all, they took it back and they tested it. And boom! They said that joint spiked off the charts with radiation. So they said there was no wasp inside the nest. But they did say it was radioactive and the bees built it there. They said the bees probably soaked up all that radioactivity and flew off somewhere. So these bees probably turned into super bees. So just imagine, if this bee was flying around and it stung you,
it's over.
You probably gonna turn to bee-man. Only thing I'm confused about is, I didn't know we still had areas in the US that was this radioactive. That's crazy to me. I'm not really tripping off the bee shit, but it is weird that they said the bee nest was glowing. That's crazy, fool.
We got radioactive bees in the big 2025. I mean, wasps. Be careful, man. Like I said, there was none in the nest, but you don't know. They could have just flew off. And like you said, if they bite you, man, like you said, you're going to turn into bee-man. Or wasp bear, you're going to get clapped or something. I don't know.
Proof that we are being spied on by technology. Watch this,
So I was looking around my room for something to test this if my TV's watching me theory. And so I've never seen a Lego commercial.
We've all experienced
It's
this.
never been presented to me. I've seen the commercials around my son, but I've never seen ads, Lego ads or anything like that. So I played with some Legos in front of the TV. I just said the word Lego 1,000 times and was just holding it, showing it to the TV like Lego, 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 Lego. Lo and behold,
They are listening to
first
us
Lego ad.
100%, y'all.
And of course it's Saturn.
They weird.
Women across America are furious right now because somebody has just hacked this female-only app, publicly leaking thousands of users' images, IDs, and posts. If you hadn't heard, there's a super popular app called T, so much so that it's actually the #1 free app on the Apple Store, and it's designed to promote safely dating and to help women do background checks on men. And there's a lot of useful features like being able to reverse image search in the cases of catfish, the ability to check if someone's married or a sex offender, but one of its features has proved very controversial. It's the ability to anonymously share red flags of a man with other women, kind of like how you rate an Uber after a ride. And as you'd imagine, the backlash because of this has been intense. Some people online labeled it anti-male, a feminist doxing app, and even as far as calling it evil and meant to destroy men's lives. And that's why some people are even celebrating this hack. But the amount of people actually exposed in this leak is pretty insane. You see, T currently has millions of users, and hackers were able to get unauthorized access to 72,000 images, 13,000 of which were selfies, and even images of identification documents. This even included thousands of driver's license, which is what they used for verification when signing up for the app. But some men have gone even further in all of this, and to get back at women, they have gone as far as creating a leaderboard from the leaked selfies, where people can then go and rank these images, and they have a top 50 and a bottom 50. Point is, you could probably add this to the active conflicts in the world. It's getting so heated right now. But of course, as always, what do you guys think?
User
took
this photo from a throwaway account asking if they should be concerned that their roommate is a serial killer. Now, it's from a note that the user's roommate had attempted to burn, but it didn't burn thoroughly, so the roommate was able to see a little bit of what was written on the card. On the note, the roommate is naming people, but calling them trophies and listing their ages with what also appears to be a map. The one side lists someone named Misha and then lists out all of the things that they loved, past tense, about this person. I loved their eyes, I loved their smile, I loved this one a lot. And then on this side, it says Keith was a 28-year-old trophy with a map showing a dead-ending road on 21st Street where OP says he lives with his roommate in Brooklyn, New York. People in the comments are pointing out that serial killer or not, this is a bit strange to be referring to people as trophies, and maybe OP's roommate is in need of some mental health help. And also, if it were just an innocent note, why are they trying to dispose of it? Commenters are raising some really good questions. Some are saying that OP should take this to police, others are saying that they should just try to get out while they still can. And I'm just curious to know how you would all react if you found notes like this that your roommate had tried to dispose of.
Ever again to get on a ride. This right here is the reason I don't do it. Even the worker ran out and she's not even on the ride.
Rife just bought the Warren Museum and he's letting people come visit. Yes, Matt Rife, the stand-up comic, is now the legal caretaker of the Warren's Occult Museum. The same place that inspired films like The Conjuring, Annabelle, Amityville Horror. And a lot of people are questioning how he went from like thirst traps and questionable jokes to this. The museum isn't just like dusty crosses and spooky dolls. It's allegedly filled with real cursed artifacts that are too dangerous to even touch. And the Warrens would claim that if you mocked these items, your car could crash on the way home, something bad could happen to you. We just saw what happened to the handler of the Annabelle doll. And on top of this, I think this is a huge cash grab. He's opening it up to the public. In the very near future, we will be able to book nights or weekends staying at this museum investigating all of the items. And while that's super exciting, I don't think it was designed for this. Some people claim that the Warrens were paranormal pioneers. They were the couple that made ghost hunting mainstream, but other people say that they were fraud. Even their own son-in-law allegedly called parts of their story sensationalized. I have a whole YouTube deep dive on the controversy. He bought the museum with his friend Elton Castay, and he clarified that they don't legally own the items. They are just the legal guardians and caretakers for the next 5 years, which basically means they are in charge of keeping the cursed items safe. Them. Let me know what you think about all of this, and follow for more freaky.
Lady in Congress was suing Starbucks because they weren't listing the ingredients on their drinks.
Oh gosh.
And the pumpkin spice latte had the active ingredient of ammonia in it.
Oh!
Why?
They use it for food coloring.
No
To make it orange. Yeah, so...
There's gotta be a better way.
In Europe, they list the ingredients and they use, I believe, carrot or beets or something. It's like a natural food coloring. But the US Starbucks was using an ingredient that included ammonia in the pumpkin spice lattes to make them orange.
This is from yahoo.com. It says there's no pumpkin in it. However, the latte included 2 doses of caramel color level 4 with ammonia and contains the substance 4-methylamidazole.
What are we doing? Yeah, why?
Well, I wonder why everyone's dying of cancer.
Because we're drinking ammonia. Yeah, and that's on purpose. That has to be on purpose.
Because it's the cheaper option.
And there's no way they just cut it out. It's the middle of fall. You know how many millions of gallons they have of that stuff probably? They're not getting rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
I got pumpkin spice lattes.
Once again, the Mountain Dew conspiracy predicted what just happened in 2025. The theory goes that every major new flavor they release contains a hidden message that foreshadows a major world event. So like in 2001, they released their famous Code Red flavor. Just 3 months later, in September, that happens, a Code Red. Then they dropped Mountain Dew Maui Burst, and we had the wildfires in Maui back in 2023. Star Spangled Splash came out the same year that Baltimore Bridge collapsed. You remember that? The name of the bridge was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now, who wrote the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? Yup, Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Splash. In 2025, they came out with Baja Midnight, a new flavor they're really pushing, and well, it sort of just happened. Just like in 2024, when they dropped Infinite Swirl, which coincided with the insane hurricane season in southeastern USA that never seemed to end. And the re-release of their Pitch Black flavor preceded the largest IT blackout in history, the CrowdStrike outage in that same year. Another one, Purple Thunder, has the same name as a classified military defense test performed by the IDF. And well, let's just leave it at that. But now we have Baja Midnight, which they announced in a live press conference not too long ago. And just have a look at what the US military's recent activity in you-know-where was called. Yeah, that. Cited as being the largest B-2 bomber airstrike in US history, which struck at midnight. Now, Baja typically means low or lower in Spanish, but can also be taken to translate to... yeah, I couldn't make this up if I tried. Baja Midnight. Did this really just happen?
Morbid Facts, Part 663. In January of 2024, 29-year-old Nolan Arbaugh became the first human to receive a Neuralink brain implant after being paralyzed in a diving accident. Though the surgery was celebrated as a milestone, things quickly unraveled. 85% of the device's threads retracted from his brain, crippling its function. Neuralink scrambled to deploy emergency software fixes just to keep it working, allowing Nolan to play chess and move a cursor with his thoughts. The surgery carried serious risks, including infection, brain damage, and long-term complications. Arbaugh's implant was never removed, and the company hasn't disclosed the full extent of its ongoing effects. In 2017, retired U.S. Army Colonel David Will Riggins was awarded $8.4 million in a defamation lawsuit after a woman publicly accused him decades earlier when they were cadets at West Point. Just as Riggins was being considered for promotion as Brigadier General, the accusation was posted on a blog, effectively derailing his military career. But an investigation soon found no supporting evidence, and a Virginia jury later determined the woman's claims were provably false. Although the final payout was reduced to around $2.3 million, Riggins said he was grateful to have his name cleared, even if the damage to his career couldn't be undone.
Alexa!
So have you all seen this current trend going around on TikTok, where if you say, "Hey Google," around a baby or a toddler, they seem to freak out. They're absolutely horrified. Now, what are we missing here? It isn't just that they're afraid of the voice. It seems to be something deeper. Maybe a frequency change of some sort, or something along those lines. Watch this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
All right, let's check it out. She laughing.
Hey Google. Hey Google, what's the weather like tomorrow? Hey Google.
They hiding from something. I don't know what.
Are you ready to go memes? Hey Google.
Hi, Madison.
Ducky.
Hey Google, what's the temperature outside?
Okay Google, turn on the lamp. It's okay, it's okay.
They don't like it.
But we're not hear you.
Hey Google.
Why they scared of Google?
What's going on?
Or Alexa.
Hey Google.
Every time.
Why don't you want me to say Google?
Because he frightens me to death because he's so loud.
Well, it's not scary though, it's just a voice.
He's talking for him.
It's just a computer.
Just a computer talking. Why are you?
I don't know. Why is whispering?
Why are they whispering?
Well, they won't turn on. I don't think it's plugged in. Go on now.
So they scared the sound it makes.
They're not turned on. We don't know then.
Do not mess with it, man. Babies or toddlers. And people doing this for a trend.
Very odd indeed.
Okay. She's all gone.
Truly is.
Baby. Alexa.
What do you guys think?
Something going on. We gotta look into that.
Oh shit. Wailing. Oh my god. It was actually in Mexico. Some guy who lives by himself. He has one cat and one cat only. He started experiencing very paranormal like activity in his house. And he's like, okay, let me get some salt just in case and put it around the doorways. He's recording because he hears something. And the only thing that could possibly be downstairs is his cat. Boom, he walks around the corner and in the upstairs floor, he sees his cat. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna rub it, right? And then he goes downstairs where the noise was. Yo, that's the exact same cat. I think in his language, he goes, this is not my cat. Oh. So he rushes upstairs and he starts putting salt on the doorway to stop him from coming. Yeah, because he feels something's wrong. Oh shit. He camps the whole night and he shows his cat and he shows the doorway. 3 a.m. It's like the mimic was like, that I'm done being a cat. Let me turn into a human again. All you hear. Oh man. Coming up the fucking stairs.
We hear that.
And then once he reaches the top, it's like a because it's like he can't get past that because he already put the salt.
Sydney Sweeney's disaster American Eagle ad discussing her good genes is not the only recent advertisement we have of a light hair, blue-eyed celebrity discussing their good genetics. It's creepy, and here's why we can maybe expect to see even more. Plus, how this ruins Sydney's brand even further and what celebrities have made fun of her. So after already taking a few missteps for her public perception, like when she posted all about her family's Trump-themed birthday party that she was so happy to attend, and proudly attending Jeff Bezos' wedding with the rest of the billionaires ruining the planet, oddly selling her own bathwater, and her other very creepy ad where she got the attention of dirty little boys while in a bathtub to sell men's body wash.
Hello, you dirty little boys. Are you interested in my body wash?
People have guessed her affiliations with certain topics. So she was already primed to make people very upset with her American Eagle ad where she insinuated that her genes are better than others. And not genes with a J, genes with a G. And it's just interesting that she's also a blonde hair, blue-eyed, pale-skinned celebrity. And a lot of people are very suspicious about the agenda of this ad. They don't think it was just a pun on the word genes because the CEO of American Eagle is very close with Trump himself, and they've made it very obvious where they stand with Israel.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Why is the brand even insinuating that some people have good genes, some people have bad genes? It all just feels like a dog whistle for some politics currently being pushed in the US. And right when people were suspicious, they were pushing an agenda of eugenics, aka glorifying a certain group of people with a certain type of genetics, another advertisement with a light-haired, blue-eyed celebrity saying they have good genetics drops just a few days after. In this Dunkin' Donuts ad, Gavin Castellano, star of The Summer I Turned Pretty, insinuates that he has very good genes, and he said he got his color analysis back from a DNA test, and then basically says he's like the king of summer and the golden boy, and that's just such a weird way to advertise Dunkin'.
This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer.
And the gag is, who is the last person to work with Dunkin', Baskin-Robbins, who are owned under the same umbrella? Sydney Sweeney. So is there an agenda that they've chosen to push, and they've chosen their key players to push that agenda? I guess we'll find out, but some stars are not letting it slide and showing where they stand. Lizzo posted this photo mocking the Sydney Sweeney campaign with her, who have very different genetics, saying if the Democrats won the election, this is what agenda they'd be pushing in American Eagle advertisements. Doja Cat completely mocked Sydney Sweeney on her TikTok and the internet ate it up.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color.
Now this is all just theorizing, but if there's any more advertisements about a celebrity saying they got good genetics, they'll be the first to update. So follow for more, and in Patty we trust.
Prison time after stabbing her boyfriend 108 times. In 2018, 26-year-old Chad O'Melia's life was savagely taken in his apartment in California by his girlfriend. 33-year-old Bryn Spetcher says that on this day, she was tricked by Chad into smoking a highly potent strain of marijuana, which caused her to go into psychosis. diagnosis. She says that she remembers immediately walking into the kitchen and grabbing several knives and stabbed her dog before going after Chad and taking his life. Authorities also said that it wasn't easy restraining Bryn and that the taser didn't even work on her. Now, Bryn's defense argues that she reacted this way because she only smoked less than 6 times in her life, which that combined with the high potent marijuana explains why she took her boyfriend's life. Bryn ended up only receiving just 2 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and no prison time.
This may be the most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist. In this clip, Simon Lou starts talking about the Illuminati, and he turns his attention to Andrew Garfield, and notice what happens next.
Illuminati real? And if so, why haven't I been invited? Garfield, where are you? I know you know. I know you know.
Now let's look at that again. But that's nothing compared to this next one. Kelly Clarkson is interviewing Kevin Hart when she starts talking about being offered major money for sketchy things. Pay attention to Kevin's response.
Dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been up, yeah. Oh, there's a room.
It's almost like these actors know they shouldn't be talking about these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and follow for more creepy, dark, and interesting content.
Seekers, man. That was some evidence, man, that we can't ignore. I know the first one kind of like played it off Simu and Andrew Garfield kind of played it off as like a joke or something like that. I don't know if they was at an award show or something, but the second one, I was like this, like it could tell, man. If you don't think there's some powerful people that influence, man, that has some money behind the scenes, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just, at least I think that's what's happening.
A 16-year-old was shot by a homeowner after ringing the wrong doorbell. Ralph Yarl was picking up his twin brothers when he mistakenly went to the wrong house. His aunt explained how the teen was shot in the head twice before searching for help.
He ran to 3 houses before one of the neighbors said, "Put your hands up and lay on the ground."
The teen is known as a musical genius and is one of the top bass clarinet players in Missouri. Ralph is currently in hospital where he is now recovering from his injuries. The police released the alleged gunman from custody pending further investigation. The release did not sit well with the public, with civil rights attorney tweeting Ralph is fighting for his life. This man must be arrested. Hundreds of protesters have since turned up outside the alleged gunman's home on Sunday afternoon, demanding immediate justice. Police obtained the firearm that was used, but have explained their delay in bringing charges against the homeowner because they are waiting for the teen to make his own statement.
That's crazy, man. Stuff like that still happens in this world.
Believe it or not, this is a well-documented, true story. In 1947, an American ship picked up a horrifying distress signal coming from an unidentified vessel. The first transmission was all officers, including the captain, are dead. The next transmission was the whole crew is dead. The last transmission was I die, and then silence. The Americans trace the signal back to a ship that's drifting off in the middle of the Indian Ocean. They quickly assemble a rescue team who boards the ship. They find the entire crew has perished in the exact same position. They are on their backs with their hands up as if fighting with some unseen force, and they look like this. There was no physical damage to the bodies or to the ship itself. However, even though it was 100 degrees outside, it was 40 degrees on the ship, and the bodies were rapidly decomposing. As soon as they tie up the ship to tow it in, it explodes, and then it sinks. To this day, no one knows what happened inside of that ship. Some say it was a chemical leak, others aren't so sure.
What went down on that ship, man? Why was the temperatures like that? Rapidly decomposing? That sounds like a curse to me. Oh, he running, he booking it.
Blood-curdling facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that the most common last words that they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most of the laughing sound effects that you hear on TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that most of those people that you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason why planes shut their lights off right before they land is so that the passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so that if the power goes off during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
Okay, never knew that.
Because everyone's talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blacks were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood. His wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators start digging through the Mesa County landfill, and after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Black, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018 he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter Abby. It's believed her remains are still deep in the Mesa County landfill.
I'm gonna show you how to avoid making the same mistake that almost turned this man into a memorial. It's showing up. If your family was deleted by tigers and you want to see the species suffer, then yeah, you should definitely go to these places. For your business model to be touching a tiger, that means you gotta people-proof a whole predator, which they usually do by declawing, which is like cutting our fingers knuckle down. Defanging? Yeah, it's what you think. And they're constantly put on a flight higher than Snoop Dogg. Oh, but it gets worse. Tigersaurism also involves ripping a tiger cub away from its mother so early that its immune system gets nerfed from not getting enough mama's milk. The tigers are also stressed, like, all the time. They're just too deep in the sunken place to show you. But you peep out Buddy tried an attitude adjustment with that stick. They don't just make him motherless. A lot of these places will beat the tiger for hours with a stick until it breaks him, and they basically see the stick as a figure of authority. It's like the belt times 1,000. Anytime the tiger even looks out of line, he gets the discipline side of the stick. Low-key, they do the same to elephants, but that's another video. But pretty much, remember that trend of folks trying to flex tiger flicks on Tinder? Hopefully that's the closest they got to any cat. And they still had the drug. Of course, sometimes it wears off, and that's when you realize the reason we're the top of the food chain isn't a stick or a frickin' leash. Look, I ain't better than anybody. A couple years ago, I almost did one of those lion walking tours until I researched it and realized I value the lions more. And I'm sure they're not like all bad, but all I know is if you got a cat that murks the likes of that for a living, or that acting like a humbled house cat, make like a driver in the UK and look left, cause sh ain't right. The more you know.
2 years ago, in September 2023, I posted a video that went viral and then was quickly muted on social media. Today, I will tell you what that video was about, and you'll understand why it was muted. 24 years ago, Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense in the United States, gave a press conference. He talked about transactions worth $2.3 trillion that have gone missing.
Our financial systems are decades old. According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
The very next day, a forensic audit team with the support of accountants were investigating the missing $2.3 trillion. Before the money tracing started, a plane hit the tower the accountants were in, and it killed them all. That day was September 11th.
As we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know.
Now this could be classified as a conspiracy theory, but damn, what a coincidence.
That's eerie. Where is he at?
We need to talk about pedophile symbols in children's movies and books for a second. So these are symbols that the FBI in the past has claimed that pedophiles use to communicate with each other. This is a known thing, and there are actually people who belong to these groups who have come out and stated that yes, these groups do align with these symbols. So take a good look, especially up here to the left. So these are some screenshots from the children's film Alina of Avalor. Do you notice any symbols right here on one of the characters? Well, some of the other symbols from that sheet are found on another one of the characters in the film. Then there's the movie The Mighty Ducks, where one of the characters' helmets not only has one of those symbols, it actually has both of them. Same character, same helmet. I mean, that's pretty strange, right? There's also the film The Flight of the Navigator, where you can clearly see this same symbol being used again and again throughout the film. And these same symbols can also be found on diapers, you can see them clearly right there, on CDs that are clearly produced for and marketed towards children, interactive books made for children like these, and they can even be observed as far back as in Pinocchio. So, what do you think? Is this all just one big coincidence? Are these commonly used symbols? Or are these symbols seen in children's films and media for a reason? I don't know, maybe it was an animator that had certain proclivities themselves that wanted to brag to people that would recognize this that they had gotten away with getting a job working near children. Or maybe it's all just a coincidence.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. 3 of the most influential horror movies of all time are Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But did you know all of these movies were loosely based off of one man? Real-life serial killer Ed Gein, or Gain, I don't know how to say it. He was known to skin his victims alive, and it's believed that he had several victims, but he only got convicted for 2 of them. But despite only being convicted of 2 murders, when authorities went to his house and checked his farm shed, they found an alarming amount of bodies. Now I think we can all agree that one of the most normal basic fears that a human being can have is death. Enter Cotard syndrome. Cotard syndrome is a syndrome where people truly believe they are dead. They'll be completely functioning, perfectly healthy human beings, but their mind has tricked them into thinking that they are the dead walking among the living. And it could happen to any of you. And finally, Victorian photos have a dark secret. But before I get into that, make sure you guys check out my bio for a sweet surprise. If you see any photos from the olden days, you'll notice that they might be slightly blurry and it'll be rare to see people smiling in them. This is because it took a very long time for photos to be taken back in that day, so people didn't want to be smiling for 10 minutes straight. And the blurriness was because people would move from time to time while the picture was being taken. If you look at any of these old photos and you notice someone in the photo looks extremely clear, chances are they are dead. It was a very common practice in the olden days to take photos with dead people to have one last photo with them taken. So they would post up the corpse along with them and have a photo be taken. But obviously their bodies wouldn't move, so this would cause them to appear much clearer in these photos. Absolutely sickening. And look, I know that one was kind of rough, and typically all my videos are rough, but that's why.
That's crazy.
Once you hear why he did this, it will change the way you look at strangers. In 2018, a woman was out for a walk in the blistering cold when she saw a teen girl coming towards her wearing just pajamas and oversized shoes. Turns out it was 13-year-old missing person Jayme Closs, and boy did she have a terrifying story to tell. 87 days earlier, a man had broken into her home in the middle of the night, killed her parents, and then taken her prisoner. He brought her 70 miles away to his house where she was kept under a bed and largely forgotten about. She was just there for no apparent reason. When her captor left one night, she managed to escape, and that's when she ran into this woman on the road. Jayme's captor, 21-year-old Jake Patterson, was quickly found, and he immediately confessed. And this is why he did it. On his way to work one day, he stops behind a school bus and he sees a girl get on. He doesn't know anything about her, and he decides, I'm going to kill her family and I'm going to take her. He had no motive, he had no criminal history. This was truly random.
His life was taken by police officers for wanting to see the same movie twice. 26-year-old Robert Ethan Saylor was from Frederick County, Maryland. Ethan was described as a fun-spirited young man who adored police officers, loved reggae music, and the show NCIS. On January 12th of 2013, Ethan went to the movie theater with his caregiver to go see the movie Zero Dark 30. Once the movie was over, his caregiver left him in the lobby while she went to go get the car. Ethan went back to the theater to watch the movie again. An employee saw Ethan re-enter the theater and told him that he needed to buy another ticket or leave. Ethan did not understand why she wanted him to leave the theater, nor did he have any money with him. Ethan ignored the employee and used his phone to try and understand the situation better. The staff member then called mall security to try and remove Ethan. 3 off-duty officers were working as mall security that day, and they responded to the movie theater. Once Ethan's caregiver was back at the theater, she told management to tell officers that Ethan had Down syndrome and if she could be with him. They refused, but she asked them not to touch him because he might freak out. But the theater staff and officers ignored the caregiver. Instead, officers approached Ethan while he was in the movie theater along with 20 other people waiting to watch their movie. Officers told Ethan that he needed to leave the theater, but he refused, he started cussing, and he threw a temper tantrum. Those 3 officers forcibly removed Ethan from his seat and tried to put him into handcuffs. There was a struggle, and officers threw Ethan to the ground on his stomach. One officer placed his knee on Ethan's back and fell forcibly on top of him. Ethan was crying and screaming, saying, "Mommy, it hurts," and then the room fell silent. The officers had handled Ethan so violently that they crushed his larynx, which is a part of the throat. Ethan was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. An autopsy revealed that Ethan had suffered from bruising and abrasions to his face and body and a fracture in his throat cartilage. A forensic pathologist stated that this only occurs with force and included in cases of manual strangulation. The grand jury failed to indict the 3 officers in any wrongdoing. They returned to work as normal and returned to their life as normal. Meanwhile, Ethan's family were grieving the loss of him, but they ended up filing a lawsuit against those 3 officers, and they were given a $1.9 million settlement.
I don't think Amy Bradley fell overboard, and
Insane.
here's why. And I know there are a ton of theories out there, but this is just my opinion. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the new Netflix documentary left out one very important detail that they once mentioned on Unsolved Mysteries. So really quick side note, if Unsolved Mysteries had a #1 fan, I would definitely be it. I have no word of a lie, been watching this show since I've been 11 years old. Now back to Amy. Her story first aired on Unsolved Mysteries on January 1st, 1998. I'm not even joking when I say that I've probably watched each episode of Unsolved Mysteries about 1,000 times. So when I say that this fact sticks in my head, I mean it. So apparently bright and early the next morning, the bass player went up to Brad, which is Amy's brother, and told him, "Hey Brad, I'm really sorry to hear about your sister." And what's really odd about that, and that's why it never left my mind, is because nobody knew that Amy was even missing except for security and her own family. For reference, here's the clip.
That morning, only the Bradley family and the ship's security knew Amy was missing. But according to Amy's brother, so did the bass player.
Hey Brad, I'm sorry to hear about your sister. I feel badly, I know you.
That's a really odd thing to say that early in the stages of this thing, you know. Nobody knew except for us, or my family and I, and security, that something may be wrong.
To this day, I still get chills when I watch that clip, and the fact that they included his daughter in the new Netflix documentary and even she is suspicious of him makes me feel like either he did something or he didn't do something, but he definitely knows something. Let me know your own thoughts in the comments. And also, was that fact mentioned in the new Netflix documentary? Because I watched it a couple times and I don't know if I just keep missing it. I didn't think it was included. I'm gonna leave you with one more thing. I used to go on a lot of cruises as a child. I was very blessed, and a lot of them were Royal Caribbean, and I am just flabbergasted at the way that they handled this case, because being on those cruises, if there was an emergency, I clearly remember that they would always make a page no matter how early it was. Just don't get what went on in this case, and I feel really sorry for the family.
I've never been on a cruise before, but like I said, the fact that the family knew, and they said the police or security only knew, so how did he know? Yeah,
5 members of the Dupont de Ligonnès family were found buried under the patio of the family home in Nantes.
It was basically a large grave that had multiple bodies inside of it. One was a middle-aged woman. The other remains belonged to 2 boys who were either in their late teens or their early 20s. And then there was one girl in her teens. They were 3 out of 4 of Xavier's children here in this grave, this makeshift grave in the backyard. The girl had to be 16-year-old Anne, and the boys were eventually determined to be 12-year-old Benoit and 21-year-old Arthur. There were also 2 dogs in this same mass grave. These were the family pets. So all of them, including the dogs, had visible bullet wounds. The police could tell how they all died without even needing to order an autopsy. And they were also all still wearing pajamas, almost like they had been killed in their sleep. The question, of course, that everybody was wondering in this moment was, who would do this? Who would want to hurt the entire family? Well, there were 2 bodies that were still missing from this makeshift grave, and one of them was the second oldest son, 18-year-old Thomas. However, it didn't take the police very long to figure out what had happened to Thomas, or for them to realize that he really wasn't the one responsible here for this brutal murder, because he was also shot, wrapped in sheets and plastic, and then buried out back. But now they were starting to get answers. They knew that the family had been killed, and they also knew that there was one person missing. One person who, to all appearances, had not been murdered. And that was the father, Xavier.
This case is one that I cannot stop thinking about. The unsolved murder of Brittany Stykes. On August 28, 2013, 22-year-old Brittany Stykes and her 14-month-old daughter were found in Brown County, Ohio. Brittany and her daughter were last known to be heading to her father's home to celebrate his birthday, driving in Brittany's yellow Jeep along US 68 in Georgetown. The Jeep was found parked in an embankment on the side of the road, and inside, both Brittany and her daughter had been shot. Miraculously, Brittany's daughter survived despite being shot in the head, but unfortunately, Brittany did not. Brittany was also pregnant at the time of her murder, so this is classified as a double homicide. 2 bullets hit Brittany and several struck the driver's side door of the vehicle, but there was no gunshot residue found, meaning she had not been shot at close range. One initial potential suspect was Brittany's husband, Shane. Shane said he was working out at a gym 15 minutes away when his wife and daughter were shot, and he has maintained his innocence, and he has actually never been officially named a suspect. And in fact, he was questioned and his hands were tested and found no sign of gunpowder residue. There have been many tips and potential leads over the years, including a woman in 2015 claiming that she knew who killed Brittany and that it was a hit that someone took out on her. But this couldn't be confirmed, and Brittany's case went cold. There is so much more to this case, and you can learn all about it in Season 2 of the true crime podcast, Culpable, which takes a deep dive into Brittany's case. Host Dennis Cooper interviews her family and friends in the podcast, and they explore the entirety of the case over the last 12 years. You can listen to Culpable wherever you get your favorite podcasts. But Brittany and her daughter both deserve justice, and this case just gets crazier as you find out more. And that's why...
In 1979, a teenage girl accepts a babysitting job at an isolated home in the Minnesota woods. After putting the children to bed, she settles on the couch to watch TV, only to be startled by a phone call. She picks it up and hears heavy breathing, when suddenly a man's unsettling voice asks, "Have you checked on the children?" Nervous, she dismisses it as a prank and hangs up. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time the voice asks, "Why haven't you checked on the children?" Panic sets in and she calls 911. The operator advises her to keep the caller on the line if they call back, allowing the call to be traced. Moments later, the phone rings again, and the voice snarls, "Check on the children now." Trembling, she keeps the call connected as instructed. Once more the phone rings. The operator's voice crackles through, urgent and frantic. "Get out of the house. The calls are coming from upstairs." Terrified but worried about the children, she hesitates before fleeing outside. She bolted out of the house, her heart pounding in her chest. There, a tall man stepped out of the shadows, his presence looming as he stared her down with a chilling intensity, and he asked in a cold, menacing voice, "Why didn't you check on the children?"
Others have been found passed away here in eastern Kentucky in Airbnb and a hotel room, both rented out by this guy. On June 27th, Rochelle Dawson went missing after going for a walk around 3:30 p.m. They live in like a really rural area, like they lived on a one-lane road out in the woods. Stepson couldn't find her, so her boyfriend Caleb texted her and said that he was going to Walmart. She didn't text back, which was really weird because she always texts back or returns calls. Caleb is actually my boyfriend's friend. This is all happening here in my hometown and in like the surrounding counties. He couldn't get a hold of her. He contacted police and her sister. Police were able to track her location to the Red Roof Inn in Winchester through the Find My Phone app that a family member had provided. During the police investigation, they had found out that 44-year-old Brian P. Epperson was the one who rented the hotel room at the Red Roof Inn in Winchester. He was also connected to another woman, 32-year-old Kristen Morris, who was found on May 31st, an Airbnb that Epperson had rented on Patsy Mountain. It's technically in Stanton, but pretty much in my hometown. He was arrested pretty quickly after they found Rochelle. He was only charged with possession. Both of these mothers passed away from ingesting too many controlled substances. I have to be careful with what I say on here or this video will get taken down. Go look up the news articles. All you gotta do is search Brian Epperson or Rochelle Dawson or Kristen Morris and any of this will pop up. You'll be able to read all the details there. But Rochelle wasn't a drinker. She didn't smoke. She had never done any controlled substances before. That was very out of character for her. I don't know about the other girl, but I'm assuming the same can be said for her. She's now been charged with connection to the Kristen Morris case. Winchester PD did put out a statement saying that he was the prime suspect in Rochelle Dawson's investigation. Hopefully charges will be brought forth on him for that soon too. More people need to be talking about this. I mean, this is so close to home. This could have happened to any of us. It could have been me, it could have been you. Please share this video to spread awareness, make your own video, whatever it takes. You can also find a lot more details that's not listed on any of the news channels on her boyfriend's Facebook page, which is right here. Also bad for him and his son. I cannot even imagine what they're going through. His son had just lost his mother recently and now he's lost his stepmother too. She also raised and took care of her niece like she was her own daughter. Kristen Morris was a mother too. It's just so sad. Hopefully he has to spend the rest of his life in jail.
Just a sad case all around, man.
This movie caused at least 4 deaths in real life. In 1973, a new genre was introduced to the world, a proper horror movie called The Exorcist. Not only did it terrify viewers, but it also left a horrifying mark on its cast and crew. This movie is known to be the most cursed movie of all time. These actors, Jack McGowan, who played Burke Dennings, and actress Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Kara's mother, both died shortly after filming their scenes. These deaths were only the beginning of the strange occurrences. A mysterious fire broke out on set, destroying a home, and actress Ellen Burstyn sustained a permanent spinal injury during a stunt gone wrong, and Linda Blair, who played Regan, was also injured during filming. But you see, none of these injuries were actually technical or mechanical faults. Ellen was violently pulled by a harness until she broke her back, and no one knows what pulled her. And what's even more unsettling is the set's night security guard and another person who's the special effects expert both died during production. But not only that, this curse seemed to follow the film into theaters, where people reported a mysterious fire destroying a movie theater that was about to premiere the Exorcist movie in December of 1973. The movie theater burst in flames the night it was supposed to premiere the movie. These real-life horrors surrounding the Exorcist movie have cemented its legacy as one of the most cursed films in Hollywood history, leaving many to wonder if the demons depicted on screen might have been more than just fiction. Because they're not. It's real life. These are real demons that we're talking about. There were also multiple delays during filming because while the movie was being filmed, a lot of crew members reported relatives dying. People from the crew had people from their families also die during production. The following months after the premiere, January 1974, February 1974, multiple viewers reported bad things happening in their homes after watching this movie for the first time. When you piss jinns off, things like this can happen. And there's one thing they really don't like. Don't tell their stories.
That sounds like a cursed movie right there. Why is she looking at us like that? Get that back up. That's dangerous.
First of all, these waves are screaming to you to not come in. And then to put your child in that situation and to record it.
Do you have any idea how rare your body is? 0.007% of people are born with 6 fingers or 6 toes. 2% of people have a longer second toe than their big toe. 10% of people have a ring finger that's longer than their index finger, usually due to higher exposure to testosterone during their fetal development. 10% of people have an extra spleen, and some people have up to 5 extra spleens? What? 25% of people have the thumb joint that bends backwards. I don't know if that counts or not, but I can do that. Wee woo, wee woo. 1 in 10,000 people are born with their organs on the opposite side of their body. 35% of people can gleek, but only 1% of people can do it on command. 11% of people have a small bump on the edge of their upper ear. 0.5% of people have eyes that have one color in the center and another around the edge. 9% of people have a gap between their 2 front teeth. I think I'm good. 5% of people have a double crown on their scalp where the hair swirls in 2 directions instead of 1.
These are the beauty standards from around the world, part 1. These women are from the Apatani tribe in India. Now, when a girl reaches the age of 10 in their culture, round plugs are inserted into the sides of their nose and black lines are permanently tattooed on their face. They were known as the most beautiful women of all the local tribes. But because of this, the men in the other tribes began committing horrific crimes. They began kidnapping these girls of the tribe never to be seen again. So to make the women less attractive and hopefully avoid being abducted, they made the nose plugs 5 times bigger than before. But eventually this became an important part of their culture and became a sign of beauty and belonging instead. Unfortunately, the government ended up banning these practices, and now they are no longer followed by the youngest generation.
That's crazy, man. They did that tradition to show beauty and strength, and the man from the other tribe took it way too far, and it became like the opposite to protect them. It's crazy, man. But you know, different cultures do different things, so that's why you always gotta expose yourself to different cultures, man. Try to learn as much as you can.
Today we're talking about the Jaws movie animatronics and how huge they are and how gross and terrifying they also are. So this was a little drawing schematic that was put out for the Jaws movie and like how they were filming it, and like look up here, that's what it looked like underwater. This disgusting, look, there were 2 people in the water in scuba suits with cameras to film them. This would be $1 million a day job for me to hold that. I could not. This is really icky. Not that icky because it's not in the water yet, but these hydraulics that I know are gonna go in the water, yay. Why is bro booping his snoot like it's a cute little puppy? That is not a puppy, that is terror. Also, why would you do this? Why would you get in the mouth of an animatronic shark? This is fake for TikTok. This is fake. It's a fake shark. Do not do this at home. Why would you do this in the first place? Is that Steven Spielberg? I don't know what he looked like in the 70s. This is icky. This is an icky photo. I don't like this at all. I showed this one in the video yesterday of how big it is in comparison to a human. That is also from the video yesterday talking about the animatronic and Japan. You know what this reminds me of? This picture of the animatronic shark? It reminds me of the shark, robot shark from James and the Giant Peach. Does anyone remember this?
No.
I was terrified of this at 3 years old. So yeah, could you work on the Jaws ride movie if we were to go back in time? I bet not.
Nah, not for me. I mean, just was like, man, getting in that animatronic. I don't care if that was
hate all you want, but this right here is the peak male form. The end game of evolution and natural selection's strongest soldier is the proboscis monkey, and it is the most interesting monkey in the world. Chances are, you've never seen one in a zoo. I think it's so the simian sex symbol doesn't destroy every man's body image. I also believe the facial flesh sac amplifies their calls. Go ahead, look up the sound proboscis monkeys make. It's not what you think. As you can see, the monk with the trunk is built different. Breaking down all those leaves is why the Nariz warrior has a pot belly. Also, their nickname is Orang Balanda, which is a Malay word for Dutchman. Jury's out on who exactly should be offended. They also have webbed feet, and that's cause not only are they arboreal, the sinus soldier can swim. One of the underappreciated rough drafts of nature, and one of the many you can see on National Geographic's Underdogs, a show about animals that don't get talked about nearly enough. And you can catch him and that beak on Underdog, streaming now on Disney Plus and Hulu. The more you know.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to like stuff it back in.
I never want to see it ever.
Babies who were born on the literal perfect day. Back in 2019, a baby girl was born on July 11th, making the date 7/11. Well, the baby was also born at 7:11 p.m. and the baby also weighed 7 pounds and 11 ounces. From this, the convenience store 7-Eleven saw this and gave the baby $7,111, making this baby the most 7-Eleven baby in history. Next, in 2022, this baby girl was born at one of the craziest times possible because she was born on February 22nd, 2022, which is 2/22/2022. But she was also born at 2:22 a.m. and she weighed 7 pounds and 10 ounces, which makes her a total 122 total ounces. And I can't forget that she was born in room number 2 of the hospital. This is absolutely wild.
The baby at the end of 28 years later is completely immune to the rage virus. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I suggest you click off. But when Spike and his mom are in the train, they all of a sudden run across an infected, who seemed to be more normal than not. She was actually holding Isla's hands as she was giving birth, and ends up giving birth to a baby. The mother then completely turns, she ends up getting unalived, and Spike and his mom run out of the train, with of course said baby. Now here's why I think the baby's completely immune. It's because we've seen immunity in this series before. A lot of people like to say that 28 weeks later has nothing to do with the premise of the story, because it's different characters and in a different time frame. Why were some of the clips from 28 weeks later used in 28 years later? If that were the case, this would completely add up perfectly, because how could we add something new to an already zombie movie? People who are immune. Spike of course then names the baby Isla after his mother, who ends up passing away, and leaving her back where Spike ended up growing up, with of course his dad. Now this is just my theory, because even the doctor said, oh, the placenta must have been able to keep her away from the rage virus. But like I've said, we've seen this before. We've seen people be infected and not be infected who have been bit by the same exact zombie. Take it the whole family from 28 weeks later minus the dad. I'm just saying, this would be a crazy setup.
I mean, I've been hearing some reviews about 28 Days Later. People were saying like the ending, they didn't like it. They said it felt like a Power Rangers movie or something like that. So yeah, I know VC because I don't be checking out scary movies like that. But if any of you guys saw it, man, drop a review down below. Yeah, I believe the immunity thing happened.
This elephant killed a woman and then crashed her funeral. In 2022, 70-year-old Maya Murmur was gathering water near her home in India. It was supposed to be a routine task, but that morning, a herd of wild elephants emerged from the nearby forest. Most villagers know to keep their distance. Maya tried to flee, but one elephant broke away from the group, chased her down, and trampled her with brutal force. She died at the scene. Her grieving family arranged a funeral later that day. As is custom, Maya's body was placed atop a wooden pyre for cremation. A solemn ritual under the open sky, but then thunderous footsteps echoed in the distance. The same elephant had returned, and this time it brought reinforcements. A stampede of elephants crashed into the village mid-funeral, sending terrified relatives running for cover. In a scene that defied any logic, the very elephant that had killed Maya pulled her lifeless body from the pyre and trampled her a second time. Her remains were left mangled, and the ceremony was left in ruin. This elephant must have had some personal issues with Maya, and this death is just extremely unfortunate.
Pictures you have to look at twice to understand. This toothpaste looks like a nose. Yeah, I wouldn't use that. This person's fried egg ended up looking like a chickadee. Whoa. This girl looks like she has extremely skinny legs, but it's actually just her track pants. This magazine cover looks like this woman's face. Oof. It looks as if these people are on a really tall building, but if you turn the image sideways, they're actually just lying down. By the way, did you know you can customize the font on your phone to make it look like your handwriting? Just press this button on my profile and try it. Why do these steaks look like my runners? Now that's what you call fast food.
Really? That joke?
We have some crazy things happening in the world right now. Kim Jong-un watched as North Korea's newest warship literally fell off the dock. A man proposed to his girlfriend with a tornado swirling in the background. Nvidia is attempting to create an entire digital twin of the Earth. Rockstar changed the appearance of a character from the GTA 6 trailer after a Florida man claimed it was him and asked for money. AI can now guess passwords with 93% accuracy just by listening to the sounds of your keyboard keystrokes over Zoom.
That's terrifying.
Can you guess that? Russian scientists thawed out 300 worms from Siberian permafrost, and 2 of them that are both over 30,000 years old came back to life. Don't think that's gonna end well for us. This is the world's last known white giraffe, and he is being tracked by a GPS after his female counterpart and calf were taken out by poachers.
Man, the thing that got to me was the AI, bro. They can literally crack the passwords now just by hearing.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Episode 20. Number 1. Coffin births. This is a rare phenomenon that is scientifically known as post-mortem fetal extrusion. It occurs when a pregnant woman dies and her body expels the fetus. The gases in the abdomen builds up and then forces the stillborn fetus out. Number 2. Jeannie, the feral child. Discovered in 1970, Jeannie was a girl who had been kept isolated by her family in Los Angeles for over a decade. She was almost entirely mute and had barely any exposure to human interaction or the outside world. Number 3. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, 2 children with green-tinted skin appeared in the village of Woolpit in England. They spoke an unknown language and only ate raw beans. Eventually, their skin lost its green color and they adapted to normal food. The origin of these children still remains a mystery. Number 4. The Hinterkaifeck murders. In 1922, an entire family was mysteriously murdered at their farm in Germany. Reports found footsteps leading to their farm, but not away. This case was never solved. Number 6. The Devil's Kettle. In Minnesota, United States, there is a waterfall that splits into 2. One side flowing into a river and the other side vanishing into a hole. Scientists still don't know where that water goes. Number 7. NASA would never release information about asteroids approaching Earth. Not because they're worried about us freaking out. It's because we don't have the technology to detect if there are asteroids coming from very far away. Number 8.
Wow.
Human extinction. This is linked to number 7. We can't really confirm if any asteroids are coming to hit us because in 2017 an asteroid named AG-13 was about to hit Earth with less than the distance of the moon. The asteroid flew so fast, scientists were only able to see it 48 hours before it could have hit Earth. This is real information. Let me know if you want part 21.
Yeah, we need to know. NASA sleeping on the job.
¡Me dispararon! ¡Me dispararon! ¡Hermano! ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
This miraculous staircase defies the laws of physics and no one even knows who built it. In 1878, they're building this chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico when all of a sudden the French architect leading the construction just dies out of nowhere. The chapel was almost done, but a crucial staircase to the choir loft was never finished, and without the architect, no one knew how to do it. So the nuns of the chapel prayed to Saint Joseph for 9 days straight for someone to be sent to finish building these stairs. And lo and behold, at the end of the 9th day, a man with a toolbox riding a donkey comes into the chapel from across the desert. He tells the nuns he was sent there to finish building the stairs, but they had to grant him complete privacy during the entire process. He takes 3 months to fully construct this spiral staircase that leads into the upper loft and then just leaves without telling anyone. This is where it starts to get crazy. The nuns realized they didn't even pay him, so they went to their local lumberyard to ask how much they owed for this project. The lumberyard workers tell the nuns that no one ever came to get wood from them to build those stairs. And this is in the middle of the desert in 1878, mind you. Wood is not easy to come by nor transport. There wasn't no Home Depot door delivery service back then. Upon closer look at the staircase, the chapel curator realized not a single nail was used in its construction, yet it somehow was held up perfectly secure, measuring 20 feet high and making 2 full turns without any support from a central pole. He brings in over 120 spiral staircase experts to investigate it further, and not one of them could explain how this set of stairs was built. They described it as being physically impossible to create. Even stranger still, the exact wood used to build the staircase was confirmed to be a type of spruce which is not native to New Mexico and is also scientifically not identified anywhere else in the world. This is the mystery of the Loretto Chapel and its miraculous staircase, which still remains unexplained today. The sisters of the chapel believe that Saint Joseph, who was a carpenter, came and built those stairs himself, which also happened to have exactly 33 steps, commonly regarded to be the age of Christ at the time of his crucifixion.
The most dangerous.
Whoa, that still gave me chills, man. They brought on, like he said, 133 experts and none of them can identify how it was built. And the tree is that type of tree is not located anywhere on Earth. Where the heck did that builder come from? That's the real question we need to be asking. Or could plane just be a miracle?
Dangerous Olympic sports is called luge. In a nutshell, one or two people who are called lugers will ride a sled down a hill as fast as they can. This hill is this narrow ice track. In 1986, a luge track was built on a ski hill in Alberta, Canada. This track and the surrounding ski area was called Canada Olympic Park. After the Olympics were over, this park was open to the public for recreational purposes. Nearly 30 years later, 3 teenage boys snuck into Canada Olympic Park after hours. They made their way up the hill until they reached this blue 6-foot-tall fence that was covered with warnings telling people to stay back. Inside was the starting house of the luge track. They looked at each other and chucked their plastic sleds over this blue fence and climbed up and over themselves. Once they were inside, they kind of arranged themselves. They put their helmets on. They strapped on headlamps so they could see the course because there were no lights on. They thought, let's just all get in one sled, and with the added weight, we should go faster. And after doing it a couple more times, they climbed back over that blue fence and snuck out of the park without getting caught. The following weekend, those 3 same boys, along with 5 of their friends, returned, and they determined they would put 3 boys in the first sled, 3 boys in the second sled, and 2 boys in the final sled. The group decided they did not need helmets. They also decided not to bring headlamps because it would be more exhilarating to go flying down this track in the darkness. The first 3 boys climbed into the first sled and pushed off. At first, it was going exactly to plan, but then disaster struck. There was a metal chain that had been strung across one of the sections towards the bottom of the luge track, and they strike this chain at full speed. When it hit them, it instantly decapitated and killed one of the boys. It was a 17-year-old named Evan Caldwell, and the other 2 are thrown from the sled and landed unconscious. Back up at the starting house, this second group of boys thinks they've waited long enough, and they push off. They hit the chain in such a way they kind of slipped under it. They were all thrown from their sled and kind of smashed into the track, but the worst injury was a broken ankle. And before they had a chance to yell up to the starting house, it was already too late. The third and final sled came bombing down. One of the 2 boys was a 17-year-old named Jordan Caldwell, and he too would be decapitated by the chain. He was actually the twin brother of Evan Caldwell, the boy on the first sled who had also died. The other boy on the third sled would be thrown from the sled and would suffer grievous injuries as well. When the paramedics ultimately arrived within the hour, they found all of these boys spread out all over the track. But they discovered the twins were actually laying right next to each other, and none of these surviving boys had moved their bodies. The 6 survivors of this accident would walk away from it with life-changing head injuries and other medical issues, and with an indescribable sense of guilt, but they consider themselves lucky because at least they survived.
This is one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. This is Maryanne Beavenon. The world labeled her as the ugliest woman in the world, but no one ever stopped to ask who she really was. She was just a mother, fighting to survive. Mary was once a nurse in England. She was a beautiful woman, but everything changed after her husband, Thomas Beavenon, died in 1914. Soon after, she began to show signs of a rare condition called acromegaly, a disorder that caused her face and body to grow and distort painfully. People were staring at her all the time. Even the doctors weren't able to help. She had no money, she had no help, and she had to feed 4 of her children. Mary entered a contest, the Ugliest Woman in the World contest, and she won. Not out of pride, out of necessity. After that, she joined a circus to make some money. She stood on stage and she was laughed at. She was mocked, but she held it in. She endured it, all of it, because all the money she made went to her children. Mary endured cruelty for her children's future. Maryanne Beavenon was never ugly. She was brave, and her sacrifice was the most beautiful thing about her.
Nah, a lot of moms would do that, and especially in today's day.
This insane mother killed her 3 kids while singing to them. Rachel Henry was a 22-year-old living in Oklahoma. She lost her mom when she was 18, which had a huge impact on her mental health. She got into substance abuse and eventually she lost her job. She then moved to Arizona with her 3 kids and lived at her aunt's house. But she was still addicted and broke. Her addiction was so bad neighbors saw her walking around the street like a zombie. One night she was alone at the house playing with her 3 kids when all of a sudden she began suffocating her 2-year-old daughter with a pillow. Even her 3-year-old son was punching and kicking Rachel to try and get her to stop, but it was no use. Once her daughter stopped moving, she carried her to the bedroom and wrapped her in a blanket to make it look like she was sleeping. Now she started chasing her 3-year-old son around the house. Luckily, the aunt came home just as this was happening. You won't believe what Rachel told her aunt. Hit the plus for part 2.
I gotta find that for you guys, man.
As we all know, there's been a new wave of conflict in the Middle East, where multiple air bases were under attack, including the one in Qatar. The United Arab Emirates strongly condemns the attack, considering it a blatant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar and its airspace. The act is also a clear breach by wisdom.
Biblical places that still exist. Jordan River, where Jesus was baptized.
Beautiful.
The rock that Moses struck and water came out. Jesus' tomb.
Didn't he try to read that? I heard like many stories about that.
River of Galilee that Jesus walked on. Red Sea that Moses split.
Could you see this? Could you guys imagine seeing this in person, man?
Synagogue that Jesus went to. Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus was arrested.
Full bloom, look like.
Place where Jesus healed the paralytic. Place where Jesus told Sermon on the Mount.
I tattooed my eyeballs purple and blue, now I'm going blind. I was just going to get one eye tattoo at first because I thought that if I go blind, at least I've got the other one. I should have stuck with that. Well, there's a picture right there. That's what her eyes look like. And she has face tattoos. You know, I was gonna say, like, what happened to the good old-fashioned face tattoo? But then here's my answer right here. Oh, look, there's a picture of her eyes swollen after it. Oh, couldn't imagine a needle going into the white of my eye. Just can't. I don't even know how someone can even do that.
Like, why would somebody want to get their eyeballs tattooed? I understand. Hands, arm, neck, face, but your eyeballs, that a needle going into your cornea? That ain't it for me.
Tattoo removal gone wrong.
Damn, man. What they do? Are they scratching the arm?
Can you hold my camera right here? It's right there. Yep. Perfect.
It's supposed to be a jellyfish?
Look at that. It's literally as big as my finger. Look at that.
Feeling the itching stage.
Memphis, have you ever had to stop in the middle of a tattoo?
I was tattooing one of my clients, and he was kind of a roughneck guy. You could tell that he's seen some things. He was kind of just telling me stories, talking up his life as I was tattooing him. Halfway through our tattoo session, my dad's client stood up, turned around, and informed the man that he was a police officer and detained him. As it turns out, he heard enough of our conversation, just eavesdropping, to recollect that he was one of the people that was a person of interest in a case that they were actively investigating. So that guy, unfortunately, was detained with a tattoo that will never be finished.
Aaliyah, have you ever had to stop in the middle of a tattoo?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't want this to sound mean or like I'm judging because I'm not, but sometimes tattoos really hurt. I've had to stop before and tell someone, like, maybe you should try numbing cream next time.
So, a person got caught in 4K, man, because he wanted to talk about what he was doing at a tattoo shop. I guarantee he did not expect a police officer to be there, man. Mid tattoo? That ain't getting finished, bro. That's wild. Dang, what did they be doing to make it peel that bad? Or is it the needles? Fun fact, I don't have no tattoos. And seeing these videos, it's making me skeptical, bro.
Put a finger down if you went and got a tattoo on your birthday and the tattoo artist spelled the word wrong on your body. Yep, that happened to me. He spelled the word wrong on my body. Story time, everybody. On my birthday in October, I went and got the word that says divine. Now, homegirl spelled divine instead of D-I-V-I-N-E. It was D-E-V-I-N-E. And I got a text later that night. It's like birthday dinner time. And she's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I tattooed the word wrong on you. I was honestly laughing, but like, you know when you're so like in shock that you're like nervous laughing? That was me. She spelled it wrong. She fixed it by adding, like, you see the circles? Added a little circle. She like looped it because it wasn't looped. And she added a little dot to it. And then she gave me a free tattoo. So I got the word faithful. But literally, I got the word divine tattooed wrong on me. And let me tell you how this happened. I didn't get this tattoo in the actual studio. I got it at this pop-up event they were doing where like 3 companies came together. They were doing bracelets, tattoos, and smoothies. All companies owned by females to help support the girlies. Since it was a little pop-up shop, you can only pick from the tattoos provided off of the little list or sheet that they had. She had pre-printed stencils that said divine. So she placed it on her body and was like, and because of like where it is, like I looked at it upside down and I was like, oh yeah, that looks good, you know? And she's like, do you like the placement? I said, yeah. So like, I didn't really like looking at it upside down. It looked fine to me. And then I went and looked in the mirror and kind of looked from afar and I was like, oh, that looks cute. I like it. Anyways, like, to me, especially if like the stencils pre-printed, like how is that on me? So anyways, she said that all of her stencils were wrong. So like I was the only person that got that word tattooed, but she had like several flashes that were happening that day and all of those flash divine tattoos were wrong. So if anyone else would have gotten that tattoo, they would have gotten it wrong too. So that's how that happened. But because it was like a special event, I guess it was missed.
Allie, what's one...
How did she how did she have all the flash wrongs, man? See, that's what happens, bro, when you be getting those tattoos. I guess those free tattoos. Always bound to, for a mistake to happen.
Tattoo you're never gonna do ever again?
It's safe to say I don't think I'll ever tattoo somebody's stepmom's feet on them. That was a wild ride.
Aaliyah, what's one tattoo you're never gonna do again? Probably not another stupid forehead tattoo. Donnie, what's one tattoo you're never gonna do ever again?
This might be a good time for the cautionary tale of Gentle Gary. Gentle Gary was a guy that used to hang out at the tattoo shop. One day he comes in and he wants this tattoo on his chest that says, "Do not resuscitate." Well, he was the kind of guy that gets that kind of tattoo, so I did it. Well, fast forward about 3 weeks, maybe a month later, I wake up one day and I've got like 64 missed calls, missed texts. It wasn't him, it was someone that was in his family that was trying to get a hold of me. Someone texted me that Gentle Gary had to go to the hospital. They saw the do not resuscitate and had to make a call whether or not that was a joke or that was serious, and they were trying to get a hold of me to verify. Finally, someone answers the phone and it's Gentle Gary and he sounds really groggy and I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? Are you okay? And he says, dude, I was just trying to play a joke. We stayed up as long as we could to wait for you to pick up, but you never did. And then my phone died. So the lesson is never tattoo Gentle Gary. Don't mess with the do not resuscitate tattoos. It's too serious to make a joke out of it.
Looked so bad like dry glue. So I used this natural gel.
Did it work?
Is it going to be okay, or is it ruined?
I think it's cooked, bro.
This is a new tattoo. I'm good. It's called Your Skin is Melting Tattoo. How does it feel?
Terrible.
My God, those are blisters.
I don't know what tattoo artist responsible is, but they should know their limitations and they don't. They should know their limitations, because they did good with the cross. They should have told him no when they said we're going to take the cross all the way up to the top of the back of his head. He should have said, nah, I'm not doing that, but I got you with a cross on your back. He did real good with the cross. But when it comes to people, who is that right there? Who is this person supposed to be right here?
I think we all know who that's supposed to be. Yeah, but I don't think faces are his forte.
Because I know they ain't who it's supposed, I think it's supposed to be. I know they ain't supposed to be old Jose Cristo. I know it is not supposed to be Jesus. I know this ain't who it's supposed to be. Cause sir, this a whole nother I can't say exactly what I think is wrong with this person. But I will say it do like Matt Stafford. That do look like Matt Stafford.
Oh, he's cooking that, bro.
Yeah, that's Matt Stafford. Quarterback used to be with Georgia. Yeah, that's him. They gotta be him. Or either it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no, it's like that frog that gives birth out of its back. Oh my... That is... Oh no. Oh, the infection, the reaction, the holes in your leg from this black ink. Oh god. Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, I hate it. Makes me feel so sick. I have to stop it. I have to stop it. No, I feel sick. 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 Those holes in the leg. Oh, invasion of the body snatchers. Very botfly burrowing into the skin. Get to a doctor, please. Get some antibiotics. What is going on here? Reaction, ink, infection, death.
I got a tattoo on the roof of my mouth and instantly regretted it. Getting a tattoo seemed like a cool idea until it turned into my worst nightmare. 5 days after getting it, I started running a dangerously high fever and had uncontrollable chills. The pain in my mouth was unbearable, and nothing I did made it better. Then I blacked out at home because my fever got so high my mom panicked and called 911. I had never felt so sick in my life. My whole body was shaking. And the first genuinely thought that was it for me. As soon as I got to the hospital, they admitted me and ran a bunch of tests. The very first test confirmed it had a severe bloodstream infection. I started taking medication, thinking was finally on the road to recovery. But my nightmare was just beginning. The area where I got the tattoo started turning black, and the pain was excruciating. I couldn't even drink water or anything that touched it felt like torture. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, the doctors came in with my final diagnosis. It was the worst news I had ever received in my life.
Alright, so I'm gonna tell you guys.
Why would you get a tattoo on the root of your mouth? This should be, man, people don't understand limits, man. Like I said, hand, legs, neck, face is one thing, but when you start going to your eyes, inside your mouth, that's taking it to a whole nother level, man. I couldn't even do it. Imagine a tattoo artist when somebody asks for a tattoo like that.
How I ended up with an infected tattoo that bad, now that it's covered and all good, and what it was like having it. So the first day I got it done, it actually didn't look so bad. Like, it was a pretty nice tattoo. Now, I've healed a lot of tattoos in my life. Now, the place I went, they are a clean shop. They do have clean practices. I will say infections can happen to anyone, and it can be either the artist or the client's fault. In this case, it happened within the first 48 hours, which indicates that it was actually part of the application of the tattoo. So next day, tattoos are a little painful. That's normal. However, it was fucking excruciating for me, and the next day, fucking excruciating. Like, if I put my hand down, it was really, really painful, and I noticed that it should stop leaking plasma after the first night, and it was continuously leaking plasma. I'm like, there's something a little off about this. After about 4 or 5 days, when it wasn't healing at all, I went and got antibiotics. Now, I started taking these oral antibiotics, and they did absolutely fucking nothing. About 5 more days later, my boss and my fiance convinced me to go to a hospital, which is when they put me on an IV antibiotic. This was about 3 days into the original antibiotic that I was taking. So I'm at the hospital, they put me on an IV, they look at it, and I explained to them that I literally had washed it with an antiseptic cleanser. I was using Pure Sand, which is all chlorhexidol-based cleansers that are meant for healing tattoos. I was washing it, I was keeping it clean, I was patting it dry, I was using a fresh, clean paper towel to clean it, I wasn't applying heavy amounts of cream. Like, I've healed a lot of tattoos and know what I'm doing. And they're like, okay, well, it definitely was in the application because this infection is like under your skin. Then they sent me to an outpatient clinic, and then they put me on an at-home IV for 2 days, and then that followed up with another, like, probably 2 weeks of antibiotics, and my body was fucking shot after that. My hair started falling out. A few of you were asking why I didn't get it done by Steve in the first place. Now, the sleeve was started 10 years ago. I was trying to have the original artist finish the tattoo, but after this, and then bumping appointments around so much that it took me 10 years to get a fucking sleeve, I was just really, really done with the whole process, to be honest. So I'm like, hey Steve, you're gonna have to fix this. And he's like, well, let's figure out what caused it in the first place. And we were kind of narrowing it down. I went through the whole process of getting tattooed, what happened, and we basically narrowed it down to either contaminated ink or contaminated wash water. Basically, a lot of artists use distilled water. Now, distilled water can sit on a shelf for a very long time. There's no regulations on it, and distilled does not mean sterile. So there could be bacteria growing in there and growing resistant bacteria inside that water bottle, transferred to a wash bottle, goes into the skin. Contaminated ink. Where I'm from, you have to label the day that you open your inks, and they're expired 1 year after. Where I got the tattoo, which is in a different province, that's not a regulation, and I know that that shop is a communal ink station, and all the artists use the ink. So if one of them fucked it up without really realizing it, I was the one that suffered the consequences. And the last time she had tattooed me with that color, I had a bit of a rough heel. So basically, pretty sure it was the ink that had just kind of been contaminated, that bacteria continued to grow, causing me to get an infection and end up in a hospital. And that's the story of my fucked up clam.
Times where Man. It's like it's so many small things, bro, that can mess up a tattoo, man. They was using distilled water, the ink. Like she said, she was breaking it down for us, man. But it was like, it was a group of artists using it, so I guess it was like a pool of them. If one person mess it up, then it'll mess up everybody's. And she paid. And I guess that's what happened to her tattoo, man. These are some wild stories.
Tattoos went horribly wrong. I'd like to introduce you to a girl named Kimberly Vermac, better known as the Starface. Now, Kimberly always wanted tattoos, so on her 18th birthday, she ended up going to the closest tattoo shop and requesting 3-star tattoos on the left side of her face. She spoke with the tattoo artist, came up with the design, and then they got the tattooing. Now, she claimed that she fell asleep during the tattoo process just to wake up to find 56 stars tattooed on the left side of her face. Devastated, she ended up suing the tattoo artist for $14,000 for her laser tattoo removal. However, an investigation started and they found out that there were some inconsistencies with Kimberly's story. Ended up confessing, saying that she liked the look of the 56 stars tattooed across her face, but ended up blaming the tattoo artist once her father found out and negatively said things about her tattoos, leaving her with a face full of stars. Look, this story right here is a perfect example to always think before you ink. Now, what do you think about this story? Leave a comment below, and thank you so much for watching.
Hello and good morning. Today is a really exciting day for me. Just a little tiny warning that if you're like squeamish, maybe this isn't the story time for you. In 2011, I was living in Jacksonville, Florida, where I was born and raised, and I got tattooed by a certain person, male, that if you are familiar with Jacksonville, Florida, and the tattoo scene, you probably know who I'm talking about, so I'm not going to really blast it up too much, but this person has since been convicted of some pretty awful crimes against women. And at the time I was getting tattooed, I was on my second session, and according to some other people that were in the shop at the time, he was touching his iPhone and then with his gloved hand and then like touching my back to tattoo me. So bad vibes all the way around. He's just yuck and like a horrible person, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself at the time. Doesn't really matter. Long story short, I developed a cyst in my back in the middle of the tattoo that stayed there for 9 fucking years. During the time, I saw a couple of different dermatologists. They all said that they were uncomfortable with getting the cyst out because they knew it would mess up the tattoo. I really didn't care, but no one I could find would actually remove the cyst. So about 3 years ago, while I was just driving my car, I leaned back into the car seat and the cyst exploded everywhere. So now I have a big old hole in my back in the middle of my tattoo. I'm going to show you a picture from far away. It's on this side, and then I'll zoom in close for anybody who wants to see it. But it's right there. You can kind of see there's a little hole in my back. Okay, now I'll do one just a bit closer up in case you want to see it close, but obviously I understand if you do not. It is right there, obviously. And I do have pictures of when it exploded, but y'all are still eating breakfast. I ain't going to do that to you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm heading to the dermatologist today. They're going to be doing a punch excision, I think is the name of it, but doesn't really matter. They're going to be closing that hole up. And then in a couple of months, I'm hoping to go see my girlfriend Selena, who is in Charlotte. She's an amazing tattoo artist who actually kind of was one of the main people that exposed this asshole back when it happened. And I just want to close this chapter. Really excited. And yeah.
So my mom decided to get a tattoo.
Wow.
She'd been talking about it for years. She loves horses and she wanted to get a horse tattoo. However, she didn't know if she just wanted to get like the side profile or its face or the whole body. She was undecisive. Well, then she finally decided, I'm just going to get a full body horse tattoo. So I took her down, dropped her off. 12 hours later, I get a phone call from the tattoo artist. He's concerned because my mother had changed her mind. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean she's changed her mind? You've had her for 12 hours, so what did she change? Apparently, she wanted 5 horses.
What?
Now, when I heard my mother say that she wanted full body horse tattoo, I'm thinking the full body of the horse. But this man who's doing her tattoo says no, she wants her full body tattooed of 5 horses. And I really couldn't argue with her because he had already done it. 5 full body horses on my mother's full body. She's 80. How is that even going to look? Well, let's go down and check it out, shall we? Well, it actually looks pretty good, Mom.
Thank you so much for your support and watching.
Okay.
Please comment, like, and subscribe if you like the content. And we will catch you on the next video. Bye, guys.
Those are some creepy freaking videos, man. We saw today, bro. Those tattoos. Shout out to Real Lovely. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a truth seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up on this video. Comment down below. Hit that post notification bell, man. Like I said, check out the links to all my social medias down below, man. Also, the link to the video will be down below as well. You guys gonna catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.